serves up unlimited wings on game days. That's right, all-you-can-eat wings, plus a $10 game card for just $19.99 on Sunday and Monday game days. Plus, they've got massive TVs with epic stadium sound, over 20 beers, and hundreds of games. So ditch your average sports bar and head to your football headquarters, Dave & Buster's, the best sports bar ever. See store for details.
Like the taste of fresh apples? Try Angry Orchard Hard Cider. At Angry Orchard, we believe in tradition. That's why we use apples from a 100-year-old orchard. It takes 2 apples to make each bottle of Angry Orchard. So raise a glass to a time when apples were best served in a pint glass. Angry Orchard, when you're looking for something a little different. Crisp, refreshing, not too sweet. Just like me. Angry Orchard Hard Cider. Branch out. Angry Orchard Cider Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Drink responsibly.
I spend my days helping others. It's rewarding, just not always financially. So I got TIAA Craft. They were founded to help me meet our financial goals. They've got so many industry accolades, it's unreal. I like taking care of people. Sometimes that even includes myself.
Intelligent investing to perform. Visit TIAA.org. TIAA Craft Individual Institutional Services LLC. This testimony is an after betrayal. Investing involves risk. Individual results will vary.
Prevention is the best medicine. HCA Virginia Physicians reminds you that your annual physical with your primary care provider is an integral part of your overall health. During your physical, your doctor will take a full history and identify any disease risk factors, review all of your medications, collect vital signs and verify their ranges, examine your primary functions such as circulatory and respiratory, and perform lab tests to establish a health baseline. For more information, visit hcavirginia.com or find us on Facebook at HCA Virginia Physicians.
Have you been dreaming about a new deck, screen, porch, or room addition? Make it happen by calling Adidec at 285-4239. Adidec doesn't just build decks. Of course, we can build your new deck or renovate your old one. We also build beautiful screen porches, open porches, sunrooms, and other room additions, and have been for over 25 years. We can design it, build it, and turn your dream into reality. Visit Adidec on the web at adidec.com or call 285-4239 today. That's 285-4239 for additions and decks by Adidec. Lucillo and Canal. Interrupt the folks. You're only 25 years old. Is it weird? Do you have any weird stories where college kids are looking at you as if you're this old guy, successful now in the league? It's funny when you walk back through the locker room and you realize that you don't recognize this before, and I think this will be the last year that I'll have guys on Stanford, so you have age. Lucillo and Canal on weekday. And the ESPN app. Can you handle a full rack? Buzz can. He's been smoking, chopping, saucing, and blazing barbecue his way for over 30 years. Original location at 1119 North Boulevard in the Fan, or the new Buzz and Ned's Real Barbecue at 8205 West Broad Street in the West End. Start this football season by winning $2 million in Week 1 at DraftKings.com. With 1 week fantasy at DraftKings, you can play when you want with the team you want. Just pick your contest, pick your team, and pick up your winnings. This isn't fantasy as usual. This is DraftKings. Welcome to the big time. Go to DraftKings.com now and use promo code RVA to play free for a shot at the $2 million top prize in the Week 1 $10 million Millionaire Maker. Enter RVA for free entry now at DraftKings.com. The cloud, one of the biggest buzzwords in business today, and no wonder let's collaborate with people and access information from anywhere and anytime. So how far you get to the cloud matters. Comcast Business Internet gets you to the cloud up to 66 times faster than T1. They also offer high options like Metro Ethernet that can grow with the needs of your business. So stop thinking about the cloud. Switch to Comcast Business and start using it to increase your productivity. Call 800-501-6000 today or visit business.comcast.com. Restrictions apply. It's almost time for lunch. Make plans to head over to City Dogs in the Fan, 1309 West Main Street, for the best hot dogs in Richmond. It's for football fans. What do you got, Stugotz? What would you nominate for funniest thing of the sports weekend? That's intro there. During halftime of the Broncos preseason game, I don't know if this is funny. I found it funny.
A youth football team competed against a collection of mascots in a tackle football game. Rocky, the Denver Nuggets mascot, ended up not only tackling a young kid, but standing over him and taunting him after the play.
Always funny. And I don't know why you diluted it with, I don't know if this is funny. I mean, when you found it funny, you're just trying to protect America's children.
Yeah, he hit him a little bit too hard.
That's funny.
A little bit too hard.
That's funny.
A little bit hard.
That's funny. Mike, I've got something worse for you that I found funny. That people want criminal charges on, and I still found it funny. Okay. I still found it funny. No, don't. Funny. You're not going there. I found it funny. I found it funny. I found it funny. Mike, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend? Bartolo Colon is a gift that keeps on giving. His sweet behind-the-back toss amazing. To throw out a Marlin at first base. That was amazing. Toward the first base line, jiggling, renowned cheater who disguises it in fat and jiggle and is now beloved, went behind the back, casually flipping the baseball because he couldn't move it around his waist and his jiggle behind his back to get the out of first. I saw on Twitter, there's like a Hall of Fame discussion now. It's like you've totally forgotten that he's a cheater. That's right. Because he's old. That's right, because he's fat. No, he's fat. That's the thing that, if Barry Bonds had been fat, he would have gotten away with everything. A-Rod, all A-Rod needed to do was be fat. That's how you get away with everything.
You're right.
I mean, Bartolo Colon has missed 50 games. We're keeping Gary Sheffield out of the Hall of Fame. He didn't miss any games. He wasn't suspended.
Yeah, not fat.
He's not fat. If he was fat, we'd be fine. Guillermo, what was your funniest thing from the sports weekend?
At the end of college game day, Lee Corso revealed that he paid $6,000 for a 45-year-old orphan named Duchess to come on to help him with his pick, but he was stood up by Duchess.
So what, he gets a refund? Like...
I laughed.
Okay, no, my bad. My bad for asking a follow-up question.
Did he expenses that, or what happened?
Yeah, I guess the expenses that.
Their names, it was, like, hard to read.
Okay,
really
that's
bad.
never good. Evidently, did this Green Bay Packer with bad breath tweet us? He tweeted us, he's enraged. What happened? He's enraged because Aaron Rodgers revealed that he's got bad breath?
He tweeted at us? How can he mad at Rodgers?
I don't know. Somebody give me the information on this. What's happening here? I need,
I forget his name.
Roy, what's the information here? It's not a verified account. Okay, well, does that matter? Or is it a fake account? Well, I'm not sure. Who would fake being Mark Tauscher? How many followers does he have? How many followers? 2,300.
Could be him, though.
Okay, and is he enraged? What's happening here? I was always curious why @Aaron Rodgers sent me this after I retired. #Big Red. Yeah, it seems legit.
That's funny.
Roy, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Tom Brady's dad went on a radio show and called Roger Goodell a, quote, flaming liar.
I love Tom Brady's dad so much. It reminds me of my own dad. If I were ever embroiled in scandal, my father would totally just like turn over furniture and would be calling radio stations to yell at some guy who's named after a mad dog. Put your shit on! Yes, my father would totally call in. Put your shit on! Yeah, and Chris Russo and scream at him, defending my honor. Tom Brady's father. Not merely a liar, calling him a flaming liar. Eli Manning's going to join us next, and I have been protected by the clock from finding something funny that may or may not have been kind of criminal.
The funniest thing from the sports weekend is brought to you by the Gillette Shave Club. Join the club now at Gillette. Football season is almost here, and people are going crazy for FanDuel.com's one-week fantasy football leagues. Listen to what real players on the site are saying.
FanDuel, easily by far, is the best fantasy website on the planet.
FanDuel takes all the fun of the entire 17-week football season and condenses it into 1 week.
With FanDuel, there's no season-long commitment. You have a new chance to win every week.
FanDuel's paying us $75 million a week this football season. Do you want to get a piece of the pie?
With FanDuel, you get your winnings right away. There's no messing around. If you're playing fantasy sports and you're not playing FanDuel, you are crazy.
Plus, right now, FanDuel is giving you a bonus of up to $200 that gets earned as you play. For every dollar you deposit, FanDuel will match it up to $200. The only way to get this one-time bonus offer is to go to FanDuel.com. Click the microphone in the upper right corner and enter the promo code 700. That's FANDUEL.com, promo code 700. The quest for glory on the gridiron resides in all of us. The impossible catch in the end zone, the last-second field goal, the game-saving tackle. All weekend long, we give you those glories. Spiders football and the biggest college football matchups in the nation live on Saturdays. Sundays, it's the Redskins and every Sunday night game. Behold the glory all weekend on ESPN 950 and online at ESPN950AM.com.
Hey, Spider fans, this is Matt Smith for the UR Bookstore. You can bet that my first stop on football game days is the on-campus bookstore in the Tyler Haynes Commons. The UR Bookstore is your home for official Spider merchandise, and their selection of red and blue gear will help you show your Spider pride from tailgate through the final whistle. In addition, the UR Spider Shop inside Robins Stadium is conveniently located on the West Concourse and opens 90 minutes before kickoff. You can find them online at urspidershop.com or call 289-8491 for specific game day hours.
You know you love the Dan Levatar Show on ESPN Radio. Are you interested in this? Wives and girlfriends, sports stars. You gotta feel a little dirty watching, don't you? But that's part of the appeal, is it not? Yes. Judging how empty these relationships are. Yeah, you'll feel dirty watching. I'll watch an episode. I'll feel dirty, and if I feel dirty enough, I'll watch more.
Weeknights at 6 on ESPN 950 and Sports FM 100.5. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone!
Adam Schefter, part of Mike and Mike's NFL team.
This is unbelievable. Like, on Thursday I was here, and I guess they had some changes to the system, so my iPad wasn't working. So they had to come reconfigure it to get it certified here. So I wake up Friday morning, I have no emails, no texts, phones aren't working. I go to my landline, and I call the IT department, like, yeah, we're going to run in the next hour or so. Okay, what's going on? Well, we don't know. So I was on the phone with my boss, Seth Norton, and he said, I just found out that you were accidentally terminated. I go, what? You were terminated. So I called IT, I'm like, because it's now been 2-4 hours since I've been on your service. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, hold on, we're on the other phone with HR right now, confirming that you weren't fired. I'm like, okay, well, did they confirm I wasn't fired? This has to be a long conversation.
The NFL starts every morning with Mike and Mike. Weekdays at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Don't stop until you shop Royal Chevrolet. We are closer than you think. Our gigantic 60-car showroom is only minutes away from anywhere in Richmond. Or shop us on the web at royalva.com, where you'll find over 400 new and pre-owned cars and trucks to choose from. Royal has a no-pressure and knowledgeable sales team that will always beat any other dealership's deal. So don't stop until you shop Royal Chevrolet. You'll be glad you did. Royal Chevrolet, the dealership that's different.
Like the taste of fresh apples? Try Mango Orchard Hard Cider. At Mango Orchard, we believe in tradition. That's why we use apples from a 100-year-old orchard. It takes 2 apples to make each bottle of Angry Orchard. So raise a glass to a time when apples were best served in a pint glass. Angry Orchard. When you're looking for something a little different, crisp, refreshing, and happy sweet. Just like Angry Orchard Hard Cider. Fine job. Angry Orchard Cider Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Drink responsibly.
I spend my days helping others. It's rewarding, just not always financially. So I got TIAA Craft. They were founded to help people like me meet our financial goals. They've got so many industry accolades, it's unreal. I like taking care of people. Sometimes that even includes myself.
Intelligent investing for the long term. Just what you'd expect from a company that's created to serve and built to perform. Visit TIAA.org. TIAA Craft, Individual Institutional Services, LLC. This testimony is an act of betrayal. Investing involves risk. Individual results will vary. WXGI Richmond, WCEC Houston. We are ESPN 950 and Sports FM 100.5. Streaming live at ESPN950AM.com. ESPN Radio Sports Center. I'm Bob Picozzi. The Patriots recorded the signals from opposing sidelines more than 40 times before they were disciplined by the NFL in its Spygate investigation in 2007. This, according to an Outside the Lines ESPN The Magazine report. That same report says a widespread perception by owners that the league gave New England a break in its investigation resulted in severe penalties for the Patriots in this year's Deflategate investigation. Appearing today on Mike and Mike, Commissioner Roger Goodell said he is not aware of any connection between the two investigations. Goodell also said he is open to a reduction in his role in future investigations.
We believe that a discipline officer or some type of a panel that could make at least the special decision, and then a designee of mine on some type of appeal would be a better system.
Goodell said he doesn't have the time to retain his current role in league investigations. Venus Williams has defeated her younger sister Serena 11 times. That's 4 more times than any active Serena opponent. The sisters meet again tonight, quarterfinals of the U.S. Open, 7 Eastern Time on ESPN. Coverage of this afternoon's quarterfinals has just begun on ESPN.
Win part of $10 million this weekend at DraftKings.com, the official one-week fantasy football site of ESPN. Use code HUDDLE to play free for a shot at the $2 million top prize in this Sunday's $10 million Millionaire Maker, only at DraftKings.com.
Welcome to the following presentation from IMG, America's home for college sports. And thanks for listening to University of Richmond Athletics. We are One Richmond, united in red. It's lunchtime, and it's time to talk Richmond football with head coach Danny Rocco and his special guest. This is the Spider Sports Line, live from Outback Steakhouse, 7917 West Broad Street. Today's show is brought to you by the Discover Card, UPS, Luck Chevrolet, Outback Steakhouse, and by the University of Richmond School of Professional and Continuing Studies. Be a part of the show. Call 804-622-0950 or 877-994-4950. Or send an email to spidersportsline@richmond.edu. Now let's go live to Outback Steakhouse. Here's the voice of the Spiders, Bob Black, with Coach Rocco. This is the Spider Sports Line on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, and the Spider IMG Sports Network, powered by Ace Electric.
He's back to throw. He's going long over the middle of the field, and it's intercepted. David Jones steps in front of the intended receiver and picks it off at the 5-yard line. Maletta under center, takes the snap, play action fake, drops the throw, sets, throws long right over the middle of the field. It's Brian Brown who makes the catch inside the 20. Brown with the reception right between the hash marks for a big gainer. I tell you what, when you start talking about adjusting to the ball, he made 2 or 3 adjustments on that one catch. Brown comes down with it. That's just an awesome individual effort. Spiders go with their jumbo offense. TJ Moon at fullback. Jacoby Green at tailback. First and goal inside the 1. Green on second effort dives across the goal line. He's in for the Spider touchdown. Jacoby Green, 1-yard touchdown run for the Richmond Spiders.
And with that, for the 8th consecutive year, we welcome you to Outback Steakhouse, 7917 West Broad Street, for the football edition of the Spider Sports Line. Great to be back with everyone. Hard to believe it is now 8 straight years that we've gathered here at Outback Steakhouse to talk some Spider and college football. We'll do it today and every Tuesday from noon to 1 during the college football season. Bob Black with Spider head coach Danny Rocco. Our special player guests are coming up in a little bit. Wide receiver Reggie Diggs and linebacker Omar Howard. A lot is the same here at Outback. A lot has changed here at Outback. You may have heard the telephone number since we were last with you. 804-622-0950 puts you on the air with us. Same email address, spidersportsline@richmond.edu. Again, this season, our Spider Club folks are here. If you're a Spider Club member and you come to Outback, be sure to show your Spider Club membership card. You can register for some great prizes that we'll give away at the end of the football season. The more you show up, the better your chances of winning. And new this season, we also have a live video webcast of the show that's available, so you'll be able to watch Coach Rocco and I eat lunch every week, I guess, if that is what you like. But you will be able to watch the show as well. It will also be archived through richmondspiders.com. If you go to our website at richmondspiders.com, there's a link on the Spider Sports Line story to watch the webcam. So you can actually watch the radio show. I guess that makes it a TV show, but nonetheless, you can watch the radio show as well. And the audio and video will be archived on our website. You can go back and listen if you can't during your lunch hour. All that said, welcome to the show. Welcome back, Coach Rocco.
Thank you, Bob.
Let's get right into it and talk some Spider football. We will talk about the upcoming game with Hampton. We're going to talk with Reggie Diggs, Omar Howard in a little bit. So let's get the head coach's perception now, I guess 48 hours after the game. And Danny, I was thinking about it today. If somebody just looked at the score on the bottom line on ESPN or in the newspaper and saw 50-21, I think they might think one thing. Observing the game, though, do you think other things? The gut feeling I'm getting from Spider fans and talking to people is that there were some positive things that came out of it despite that score.
Well, I definitely think we played hard, and I think that was something that I knew we had to do up there. And we had our moments. We were able to take a lead with 10 minutes to go in the second quarter. When we came out and fell behind 10-0, there was a moment there that I was afraid the game might get a little sideways on us and get away from us. But we fought back. We got back in it, put together a really good drive for touchdowns. So the last 4 or 5 minutes of the second quarter, we gave up, I think, 11 points or 10 points, which really put us at a deficit going into the locker room. And then, to start the second half, we had 7 straight punts and 6 3-and-outs. So, it was disappointing that we didn't have the consistency that you need to have to protect your defense and to be able to play a little field position and to stay in the game. So that was disappointing. I think the last drive of the game was very impressive. I think the 3 drives that we had for touchdown were all very impressive. 2 things I look at as I look at the thing, kind of try to distance myself a little bit. We had 1 penalty in the game. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to say or equate that the team wasn't ready to play if you only had 1 penalty. You look at all the box scores from all the games across the country and their opening games, and you usually see a number of miscues and penalties and things along those lines. And then, secondly, we didn't turn the ball over. All right, so those were 2 things right there that you felt if we could do that, we could have stayed in the game, hung in the game. But our inability to get the punt returner on the ground was obviously a huge factor in the score, but not the outcome. You're not going to win the game when you punt 7 consecutive possessions in the second half.
Well, let me go back to the 2 points that you made about only 1 penalty and no turnovers. At least on the offensive side, that normally starts with your quarterback. If you're not turning the ball over, it means the quarterback is handling it well. He's making right decisions. If you don't have penalties, at least on offense, it probably starts with the quarterback. So a new quarterback, you're breaking in. Kyle Laletta statistically goes 18 of 30 for 220 yards. What's your assessment of his debut as a starter?
Yeah, he's probably right where he needs to be. I think that during the game, he was kind of in and out of his comfort zones as the game was unfolding. During those drives that we had a little rhythm out there and a little balance, I thought that he managed everything really well. But he did let a couple things get to him. He took a couple significant shots in the pocket. But I think holistically, like I'm saying, I think he's right where he needs to be. He is a young person who takes ownership of his performance and the performance of the offense. He's not one of those guys that's ever going to point the finger at anybody else. And 2 or 3 times on the sideline, he and I were talking about that exact thing. And he said, "Coach, it's up to me. It's up to me. I got to get this right." And so I think when you have that mindset and that attitude, I think you're going to be able to develop and mature rapidly. And I'm expecting him to respond in a big way here this week.
To your point, on the post-game show, he was on with Matt, and he was already saying the things that you just alluded to, that it was on him. He missed reads, he missed throws, and he was specific in certain plays. He didn't even have to see the film. Mm-hmm. He already knew which plays he was in the wrong read or the wrong check. To your point, he seems like a really intelligent kid.
Yeah, but that's a great point, Bob, because there are times when the student-athlete doesn't even really know what happened or what the error was, or that maybe it was on his shoulders or his job to make that play or to complete that play. And he gets it. He understands the big picture, and I think he's right where he needs to be here heading down to Hampton.
All right, what about defensively? Danny, obviously a lot of points. The defense doesn't like to see that on the scoreboard, but so many short fields, so many punts, several times, even with the short field, defense was able to hold them to field goals or hold them off the board altogether.
Yeah, it's hard to really assess, when you throw in the field position, the short fields, and then the punt return yardage to really say where were we. they were big and physical. That's the biggest and most physical team we'll see all year, and we can play well into December and not see a team that will be like that physically. And they ran a ball against us more than we would have liked to have seen. Now, we defended the pass well. We certainly had our moments defensively in terms of, holding them to field goals and, keeping them out of the end zone. So I thought there were some real positive things. It's just such a hard thing to judge when you take a look at the way the game unfolded and how we were put in so many bad positions defensively.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the special teams. You mentioned it, the punt coverage. Now, first of all, this is a kid who didn't just pick on the Richmond Spiders. He's been doing this for a while. He had a 100-yard kickoff return in their bowl game last year, so it's not like it was a fluke or an aberration, as you called him, I think, a superior athlete. And you mentioned yesterday on the teleconference, there will be some tweaks on the punt team. How much have you already dissected that, and where do you head on punt coverage and special teams?
Yeah, we did a lot. I actually, today, from 8:15 to the moment I leave, I'm doing special teams with Coach Legg, so all that's pretty much fresh in my mind. I think there's a couple things just to note kind of on the front end. He was also their kickoff returner, and we kicked the ball away from him. The first kick of the game was, we could not have asked for Peter Yoder to make a better kick. The ball landed on a dead spot right behind the up back and right in front of the return man, and it just laid there for, it seemed like, seconds, and couldn't get him on the ground. A little error here on leverage, what have you, and, we're tackling him inside the 15, inside the 12 to start the game. In the punt game, it's a little harder to kick the ball away or out of bounds. Now, the last three punts, we did tell DJ to kick the ball out of bounds, and he just wasn't able to get it, directed far enough off to the side. Three of those punts hit the ground and rolled. So there's a lot of unusual things. We just could not get him corralled. So a couple things we've tweaked. Don't want to necessarily disclose it all here, but personnel certainly part of it. And we'll do some things here this afternoon. We do have punt period today at the beginning of practice and in practice, and we're certainly put a lot of emphasis on our getting off these holds up and getting down the field and covering. But we got overwhelmed there a little bit on that play, and it all started up front. I mean, we couldn't get off the hold-ups, so we had space to get started and get running downfield. So we'll make some adjustments to that to get that right here this week.
One of the things Chris Anderson mentioned, our new radio analyst, and he played on special teams when he was here, but he was also a starting defensive back, is at the FCS level. How many of your guys on special teams are also playing every down on either offense or defense, and that is normally not the case with FBS teams because of the size of their roster?
Yeah, it factored in as the day went on. As it got hotter and the play counts accumulated, we had a lot of guys out there that were probably a little more worn than they should have been or needed to be able to go down there and get that guy on the ground. So it's a valid point. I think it's a very realistic analysis of what does happen in some of those situations. From the very beginning of the week, I told the team that the special teams is the one area that always has you on edge in these games because of what you just said, and just disappointed that we weren't able to respond a little better.
All right, there's your assessment analysis of the first game against the Maryland Terrapins. We'll look ahead to Hampton a little bit later in the show. As we mentioned, both Reggie Diggs and Omar Howard with us today here at Outback, 7917 West Broad Street, and they will join us shortly as well. I mentioned this is our 8th consecutive year here. I imagine it's about our 30th consecutive year that Ivan has called in to be the first caller on the talk show, no matter who the host is, no matter who the coach is, no matter who's listening. Ivan is always there, ready to talk. Ivan, welcome to the Spider Sports Line. Thanks for christening the 2015 season.
Thank you, Bob. It's great to be back again. Coach, it's good talking to you again.
Thanks a lot for calling, Ivan.
Thank you. I want to say I watched the game last Saturday on TV, and I thought at the opening of the second half, when we had the ball, it looked like there might have been a pass interference that wasn't called. And I think that could have really helped a lot if that had been called a pass interference.
Well, that's exactly what I was telling that official on the sideline. it's so interesting how little subtle things kind of change the flow of the game. And if we would have gotten that call right there, we would have had some field position, maybe a little momentum, and then ended up three and out there and having to punt the ball. It was a unique experience with some of the officiating. I had some things happen that I haven't had happen to me in having done this for as long as I've done it, and this was with a Big Ten crew. I had the official come up to me at the start of the second half and asked me what goal I wanted to defend. And I'm like, I get the ball. It's my choice. He says, no, you have. And like I said, I was just shocked that he did not know that as he came over to talk to me. And that was disappointing. It was the same guy, right, that didn't make that call right there on that play. So, Ivan, I could not agree with you more.
Because I really think that if that play had been called properly, we could have at least got 3 more points, a touchdown or 3 points.
I agree. I kind of said it earlier when I was talking about the inability to cover the punts. None of that would have won the game for us. I want to make sure everybody understands. We weren't going to win the game because we covered punts better. The outcome would have looked different. We would have felt better. Okay, but we weren't going to win the game in that scenario where you have 7 straight punts in the second half. It's not going to happen. All right, so made it a little harder to swallow, But and again, same thing to your point, Ivan. I mean, that play could have given us some momentum and offered the opportunity to maybe get a field goal or something. But on that day, they were the better team, and they certainly deserved to win.
Yeah. What can you tell us about going? I know I was reading the paper also that maybe eventually the 1AA and Division 1A teams may not play each other with the Power 5 conferences, have their way anymore.
Yeah, actually the Big Ten is the league that is kind of driving that idea. They made a statement a year ago that the Big Ten was not going to play FCS schools and they were only going to play other FBS schools. And my understanding is that this game was kind of grandfathered in since it was already in the books and on the schedule, so they didn't see any real reason to force Maryland out of this game. But I'd be surprised if what you're saying is not a reality. It might take a few years, though, before it becomes a reality. But when you really look at it, with the new playoff at the BCS level, those teams have got a schedule for the chance to be in that conversation. And for them to play FCS schools, it's just harder to stay in that conversation. So it's going to be driven, I think, by a lot of different factors.
What can you tell us going into this week's game against Hampton? How good are they? What players should we look forward to? And how do we come out injury-wise?
Yeah, well, Hampton's much improved. They got a transfer quarterback from UVA that, really is a very talented athlete and threw 5 touchdown passes last week. And then defensively, they got a couple of edge rushers, outside defensive ends that are very, very productive. So we're going to have to play a lot better here this week if we want the outcome that we want to have down there at Hampton. And for the most part, I think we came out of the game, pretty healthy. Nick Villardo is maybe questionable here heading into the end of the week. But I think everybody else is basically in a position to participate in practice this week and on schedule to participate in the game.
Okay. Well, good luck, Coach. I hope you come up with a big victory this Saturday.
We appreciate you, Ivan. Thanks for calling.
Thanks, Ivan. That gets our show off and running. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, Reggie Diggs and Omar Howard join us here at the head table, talk some Spider football. Coming up when we come back from Outback Steakhouse, 7917 West Broad Street on the Spider IMG Sports Network, powered by Ace Electric.
It's out there lurking, big, tall, and green. The grass monster. Is cutting grass taking up too much of your valuable sports time? Arthur's Electric Service has the Toro Time Cutter mower that can significantly reduce your mowing time. Toro's simplified operation, zero-turn features, and comfortable ride will have you cutting smarter, not harder. Get the mower that's ready to cut when it goes out the door at Arthur's, located at 8910 Brook Road in Glen Allen. Stop by today to see the full line of Toro Time Cutters or call 264-2513 to learn how you can save time and effort. And now, back to the game.
We know what it's like, that persistent nagging feeling that will only go away when you get away. For those with a passion for travel, there's the new Discover It Miles card. You earn unlimited 1.5 miles for every dollar you spend, and you can fly any airline anytime with no blackout dates. Just buy your ticket and use miles to credit your statement. Apply now and Discover will double your miles at the end of your first year. So go on, scratch that travel itch. Get the new Discover It Miles card today. Limitations apply. Double miles for new card members only. Learn more at discover.com/miles.
100 years is a long time, and Luck Chevrolet is celebrating their 100-year anniversary. Let them use their century of experience to help you find your next Silverado, Suburban, Impala, Malibu, Equinox, or commercial upfit vehicle. Luck Chevrolet uses their vast knowledge of GM vehicles to help you maintain and service your vehicle to keep it on the road longer and help preserve its value. So for Chevrolet sales, service, or parts, go where experience reigns supreme. Luck Chevrolet in Ashland and online at luckchevrolet.com. Proud Spider sponsors and proud to be family owned since 1916.
If you're craving lunch and Richmond football, you've come to the right place. Outback Steakhouse, 7917 West Broad Street. This is the Spider Sports Line on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, and the Spider IMG Sports Network, powered by Ace Electric.
From the gun, rush is coming. Lauletta throwing for the near sideline. Diggs goes up and makes the catch at midfield. On 3rd and 9, he hauls it in.
Can we give some kudos to that offensive line? Again, they brought a blitz. They brought the house. Lauletta was able to sit back down there, plan on his back foot, get it out, no problems at all.
About 20 minutes into our season premiere of the Spider Sports Line from Outback Steakhouse. We appreciate everybody who's here today. A lot of familiar faces. We hope you'll join us each and every Tuesday for lunch. We're at the Outback Steakhouse, 7917 West Broad Street. You can dial us up at 622-0950, 804-622-0950. Shoot us an email if you'd like. Got a couple of those we'll get to with Coach Rocco a little bit later in the show. Spider Sports Line at richmond.edu. All right, our special player guest today, a couple of veteran guys, not only on the field but behind the microphone as well. Both of these guys were with us on CAA Media Day up in Baltimore as well. Did a great job up there, and we thought we'd kick it off with them today here at Outback. Omar Howard, Spider linebacker. Reggie Diggs, Spider wide receiver. I'm going to start with you because Coach Rocco mentioned this about playing an FBS team, that this particular FBS team was probably the biggest and most physical that the Spiders have faced, particularly on the offensive side where all 5 of their linemen were over 300 pounds. Mm-hmm. Their running backs were like bowling balls at 210 or 220 pounds. What was it like for you and your defense against such a big offensive football team?
Honestly, being against our team all spring and summer, I have to go against Tom Evans, and he's 315, and he's the strongest man I've ever seen. So for me personally, it wasn't that big a difference because Tom is a man. But those running backs certainly run hard. I think for us, the first game, it's just getting used to tackling again. As you may know, during practice, we don't really get the opportunity to tackle every down, just for safety-wise. We don't want to get our own players hurt. But the first game, get acclimated to playing physical and tackling. So I think it was more of a filling out process. So I think after this first game, we're going to be getting back to where we were.
The points aside, how do you feel the defense did handle that once you got going? As we talked about with Coach, a lot of short fields. Were you able to hold them to field goals or to no points at all? They missed one field goal. Their All-American kicker. How do you feel you did handle that? Quite honestly, your backs were against the wall a lot of the afternoon.
I think we've just been trained to fight. We're going to fight the whole 60 minutes, no matter if we're on the 5-yard line, 50-yard line, or their 20. It doesn't matter. We got to try to stop them. It's our job. All 11 guys are going to try to do that. Obviously, it was kind of tough for us, starting with our backs against the wall. But I think it just built our character a little bit, just having that adversity early on, knowing that we're going to fight through that.
Danny, an interesting point that Omar made about tackling and the preseason, and this is a debate that's probably been raging on as long as tackle football had been invented and playing, and that is where you draw the line in preseason about getting these guys some tackling opportunity, but as Omar said, making sure that you're not losing guys in August when you got a full schedule to play.
Yeah, it's a ongoing evaluation and discussion, and I think that a lot of people have really changed the way they go about conducting their camps. And I'm one of them. Maybe not wholesale. A lot of teams aren't even going out there in pads. There's very successful programs that practice all season long without shoulder pads on. And there are so many things in play when you're looking at getting your football team ready to play, and that's why I made a comment at the beginning. We had one penalty. We didn't turn the ball over. So when you're watching these games on TV for these opening games, you see so many different things happen during a game that say, "My gosh, those kids aren't ready to play." But I didn't sense that or feel that at all. With our kids, I thought we were ready to play. We had a 1 point lead there, I guess, with 10 minutes to go in the second quarter. We did more tackling drills than we've ever done, but I've done less live scrimmaging. But when you play Maryland, you're going to miss some tackles. Whether you're going to play them week 1 or whether you're going to play them week 11. So there's a lot to assess there, and it's a very real aspect of getting the team ready to play. But you always have to try to use good judgment and wisdom as the best way to move forward. And when your roster numbers aren't real big, you don't have a lot of depth. You certainly can't afford to tackling Jacoby in practice. You know what I mean?
Nope.
It's just there's no upside to it,
Right.
And so I think we're doing the right things, and sometimes that's a byproduct of it a little bit in the opening game. I'm sure Maryland didn't tackle quite as well as they thought they can tackle too. So I do agree that second game is a good game to say, okay, this is a better gauge as where you're at, with that element of your team.
All right, Reggie Diggs, before we get to the second game, you've played in some of these first games before against FBS competition. How was this one different with Maryland as the opponent, or how similar was it to a couple of the other FBSs you've played the last couple of years?
I think it's pretty similar. You just gotta, for me as an offensive player, you gotta get used to reading coverages again and getting different looks on defense. So you just gotta get adjusted, to the style of play, and we all get better as time goes on.
Did you feel as though their defense had made you a focal point of their strategy, knowing that you and Brian Brown obviously came in there with the accolades into Week 1?
I'm pretty sure they knew who I was, and but I think they played their defense.
Likely was on you a decent number of times. What was that one-on-one battle like? I mean, kid's only 5'7", but as coach said, he's quite an athlete, and you're there at 6'4".
Yeah, it was a great challenge. He's a great player, but it really wasn't any different from any other corner I played against.
How about quarterback Kyle Laletta? What do you make of his first game out there on the field and how he handled the huddle, how he handled things, that kind of thing with you, with Brian, with the other receivers?
Yeah, I think Kyle did a great job for his first game starting. Like I said, we're all going to get better as time goes on, and he'll be fine.
How do you guys, both of you, Omar and Reggie, you've been around this before, so it's one game and it's one loss. Is that an obvious statement to make with your teammates, Reggie, or do you have to remind them, hey, all our goals are still very much right in front of us?
Oh, yeah, that's just one game, and that's not going to determine how our season goes because we're not going to let it. We're looking forward to next week playing Hampton. Well, this week coming up playing Hampton and bouncing back.
Omar, I know Matt asked you a little bit about that on the post-game show about just making sure, you're a vocal leader on this team. You're a captain, making sure the guys do understand that it's one game behind you and there's 10 more that are going to determine what this season is all about.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, there's 10 more games ahead of us. I mean, we have everything that we want to get right in front of us, so we just got to keep our focus on the next game. And I think as long as we prepare for each and every game, like we did for Maryland, we'll be set.
Danny, is there a message that you have to provide as the coach along that theme, or are you pretty confident that guys like Omar and Reggie are taking care of that in the locker room?
Well, I always will offer, the thoughts and kind of the direction, I think, of the program in terms of where I want to go and what I want to focus on. And then, one of the things I'm talking about here today is just our ability to respond. I think, I sent a text message out to the team Sunday night. The time is now. And we got a sense of urgency. We got to recognize that the time is now. You got to have a sense of urgency, and we got to respond. And the one thing these young people have done, they've responded. And we've responded in very, very positive ways. And I think the best way to do that is to take ownership. You got to take ownership of your preparation and your play. And, like you said, it starts, I don't want to say today, but we're practicing today. We did practice Sunday night. We didn't do a whole lot out there Sunday night, but I look forward to seeing them respond. And Omar mentioned the word character. I mean, it's the great thing about this game. Whether you're coaching it, whether you're playing it, whether you're following it, I mean, it really pushes you to the limits, and it tests your character. It really does. And if you're not of good character, and if you don't have the type of core beliefs and values and convictions that you have to have, it tears you up. And time to respond. And we'll find out a little bit about ourselves here this week in our preparation, and then ultimately with our play down at Hampton.
We'll talk about that when we come back in just a moment with Omar Howard and Reggie Diggs, our special player guests, on today's edition of the Spider Sports Line that continues about halfway through after these messages on ESPN 950 and Sports FM 100.5. At the University of Richmond School of Professional and Continuing Studies, we offer flexible and affordable degrees to help you start, advance, or change your career. Our degrees combine the latest theory with real-world applications to empower you with the critical knowledge and skills to take the next step in your professional life. Explore our newest graduate degrees in nonprofit studies and public history. Plus, check out our new bachelor's degree and certificate in information security. With evening classes and tuition starting at just $450 per semester hour, you can earn a University of Richmond degree on your terms. Visit spcs.richmond.edu for details. That's spcs.richmond.edu. The University of Richmond School of Professional and Continuing Studies. We work for working professionals.
Can you handle a full rack? Buzz can. He's been smoking, chopping, saucing, and glazing barbecue his way for over 30 years, specializing in succulent spare, tender baby back, and jumbo beef ribs with recipes handed down for generations. And don't forget about the award-winning pulled pork sandwiches, cooked daily over Buzz's signature hickory smoked wood. Stop by the original location at 1119 North Boulevard in the Fan, or the new Buzz and Ned's Real Barbecue at 8205 West Broad Street in the West End.
Need a good price on tires with great service? Visit Dyke Tire, your locally owned Tire Pros dealer, for all your car care needs. Our services start with a full line of tires for your car and truck. We work on all vehicles, from oil changes to repairs to your engine, that'll keep your car safe on the road. Dyke Tire Pros is a proud supporter of the University of Richmond Spiders. Visit Dyke Tire Pros in Richmond at 2503 North Skipwith Road. Online at dyketire.com.
Lunch is on the table, and the Spider Sports Line is on the air. Live from Outback Steakhouse, 7917 West Broad Street, on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, and the Spider IMG Sports Network. Powered by Ace Electric.
Fourth and a long two at the Maryland 36. From the gun, there's the snap. Lauletta rolls right. He's got Jacoby Green wide open down the sideline at the 20 to the 15 and backpedals inside the 15 and down to the 12-yard line. On 4th and 2, Kyle Lauletta hits Jacoby Green for a Spider first down. Bob Black back with you, Outback Football on ESPN.com. I got Omar Howard and Reggie Diggs, and I want to get back to moment, but because we just played that high, pick your brain a little bit, Coach. So there was your first kind of quote-unquote big decision of the game. It's 4th down. Was there ever a whole lot of discussion. You're at their 36. It's probably in that area where it's four down territory, and then just how good it felt to convert that on a really well executed play. And Jacoby out of the backfield showed he could.
Yeah, that was a play that Coach Fisher's kind of implemented here in the spring. And we kind of, the first time you run that play, you can't stop it. Defensively, the first time that we saw it, we had no chance of stopping it. Well, once you see it a couple times, you have a chance to start recognizing it. And, so that was one of those plays that I think we had a very high degree of confidence in our ability to, make a clean throw, get an open receiver, and then Jacoby can catch the ball and he can run with that ball. And I think he put his shoulder down on that play and was made a physical finish, So I thought Jacoby was a stud. I was extremely proud of his effort, his performance, and his commitment level to our football team.
Reggie, what for an offense does a play like that on fourth down do for you guys moving forward? As Coach mentioned, it was 10-0 early, not a whole lot was working, and then all of a sudden that play happens and two good scoring drives happen.
Yeah, I think it gave the whole offense a lot of energy. It created momentum, and because of that play, we were able to get in the end zone that drive. So that was very important.
Let me ask you, I want to ask Omar about the punt coverage. So I do want to ask you a little bit. There were a couple throws with Kyle that it kind of went behind you. It seemed you were going down the sideline. This is stuff that I know in week one you work on, and it's on film. Can you kind of tell us how you and Kyle will now go back to work to make sure that doesn't happen again?
Yeah, it's just because different coverages, like I said, we have to get used to making route adjustments and running the route according to the coverage that they give you. So we weren't on the same page, but we're working on that. We'll be working on that this week, and we'll fix it.
And is that something you come back to the sideline and both of you start talking about?
Yeah, we talk about it and try to fix it in the next drive, actually. So.
Yep, absolutely. And from your perspective, Omar, you were chasing that likely guy down all afternoon on punt coverage. And to our point from earlier, you're playing every snap on defense, and then there you are on special teams. And I know there was one late in the second half where you caught him from behind. I mean, maybe it doesn't look that on film, but it sure looked it to us that he was on his way up the field again, and you were able to trip him up from behind. What was the challenge like against that kid Saturday, and how difficult is it to be doing what you're being asked to do?
Honestly, it's not that difficult just because it's my job. I mean,
Chris Anderson thought it was difficult when he played, so you're a better man than him already.
I mean, you do get tired, but that's what the practice is for. You get your conditioning in. Obviously, we were kind of tired and run down in the second half. But, he was a really good returner. I mean, he was quick. He was fast. He knew how to make moves, and he had a good vision, honestly. But part of that is just poor coverage on our part, and a lot of that is missing tackles. I know of 3 occasions where I missed a straight-up tackle, so, I mean, that's on us, really. But we made him look really good, but he is really good, so.
Yeah.
One of the things that we do every week, we look at Omar. Like, Omar's on one special team, the punt team. Mm-hmm. So it's not like he's got 4 units and he's starting at linebacker. And, all these decisions are calculated, and you have some younger players that might not play that much in the game, and they might be 4 special teams members or on the 4 major units, and it's all calculated. But, on the punt team, you want to get some guys out there that you have some trust and some faith in. And the tackle that Omar made that your references was the last one of the game, and so perfect storm when you really think about it. Play count for the defense, consecutive punts, for the offense, and then truly a dynamic return man. So
absolutely. Reggie, Coach mentioned the younger guys, so it's always a big deal to play an FBS opponent, whether you're a freshman or a senior. Did you notice some of the freshman guys being a little wide-eyed when you went to the stadium on Friday, you went to the game on Saturday, there's a bigger crowd than normal, that kind of thing? Did you have to kind of massage them along a little bit, having been through it before?
Yeah, of course. Just trying to be a leader. They're going to be nervous. I was nervous, of course. But me being a senior, just telling them it's going to be good. Just get in there and play hard. If you make a mistake, just make a mistake going full speed. So.
I imagine it's normal to be nervous, isn't it? Don't you still get nervous before every game a little bit?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be meaningful to you, I don't think, if you didn't.
Right.
Omar, are you calm, cool, and collected as you seem to be, or are there some butterflies in a game like Maryland, game 1 of the year? Also, what it'll be like at noon Saturday at Hampton, which will be an entirely different landscape.
Well, every game I'm like really nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like flustered. I got my knees shaking, my hands shaking, like clammy hands. But once you get out there, it's all good. But I think on Saturday we're gonna bring the energy, and we're gonna still have that nervousness just because it's a game. I mean, it's a huge game. We only get 11 of them, so I mean we're gonna bring that energy and obviously try to win.
How much does that have to be the mindset, particularly in week 2 when you're coming off an FBS game, in week 1, that all kidding aside, it is going to be different. No disrespect to Hampton. It wouldn't have mattered if it was VMI or Maine or Villanova. It's going to be different because FBS, FCS.
I mean, you just have to control your energy. You have to bring the same energy that you would against Maryland to Hampton, to VMI, to Maine, to all those. You have to control yourself, so you have to know how to bring it each and every week, and that's just something that we're trying to get at.
Reggie, how about for you guys on offense? Kind of the same scenario, that it will be different next week, but that it is the next opportunity for you guys to get better.
Yeah, very excited. Like Omar said, we're gonna have the same energy that we had from Maryland, and go out there and try to correct some mistakes and put some drives together and win.
Do you at all think about the fact this is your senior year?
Yeah, I do. I'm trying to leave everything I have on the field. Might not have a chance to play football again. You never know. I might will. But definitely leaving it all on the field.
Danny, a pretty healthy attitude for a senior. You don't have as many seniors this year as you did last year.
Yeah, Reggie's been outstanding during his entire career, and it's been a real joy for me to watch him grow, mature, and just take ownership. And it's like, so many of the young people that we bring in, it takes a little while to really comprehend the big picture, the importance of, doing the little things right and being totally committed to school, and doing the things behind the scenes. And, Reggie is a captain on this football team because his peers recognize that he emulates those qualities, so, with both of these guys here, really, proud of both of them. And I tell you what was really neat. I'll tell you what was really cool for me. We're getting ready to walk into the locker room before the game, and we do pray, but and that's kind of like the last thing we do when we take the field. And then I was getting ready to walk in. I saw Aaron Rohn and Austin Gund and Justin Williamson and Fulham, and who else was there? Bluford?
Yeah.
They were going crazy, sitting down in the bleachers, like in the very first row. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Uh-huh.
They were going nuts, absolutely out of control. So I walked up there, and I told the guy that manned the security guy, I said, let those guys, I'm the head coach, let them come with me. I'm bringing them in my locker room. So they came in the locker room, and they were so ecstatic. It was unbelievable. And it just dawned on me the reality that it's such a privilege, to be able to play this game, and these guys, they're spiders. These guys they are, you know what I mean? Full, all out, committed, They would have done anything. They would have given anything to play in the game. They can't play anymore. Reggie's talking about, he's looking at his, I don't know, they can't play anymore, but the reality is they are committed, and they are spiders, and they are loyal, and they will fight, and I wanted my my players to see that, and these guys come in there, and they were all excited about that, and it's real. There's an element of pride that goes into these games, and it was really good to see some of those guys. I hadn't seen some of those guys in a while.
On the other hand, it sounds like they're enjoying being fans. they know how to be a fan.
Being a fan can be fun.
Sounds like they're having some fun doing that.
I haven't been to a tailgate in a long time.
Yeah, me either.
So, yeah.
I try not to go out in the parking lot because I don't think I'll ever leave if I do go out there. So I try to avoid it at all costs. Last topic to finish with you guys. I know your lunch is on the table. Being captains, both of you do have that designation. Both of you have been leading anyway. But Reggie, how do you look at that? You've got that official title of captain and the responsibility that's on your shoulders.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity, and it's just something great to embrace. So I embrace it every day and try to uphold that role as best as I can.
Omar, from your standpoint?
Yeah, just it's like just officials. Like I'm trying just as hard as every one of you and just get us going. I guess it gives me some vindication to why I'm yelling is because now I'm a captain, so I get to yell. But so yeah, it's a great role. Just trying to personify the Spider Pride.
And Danny, real quick, it is kind of interesting, but 3 of your 4 captains are not seniors. Reggie is the only senior captain, right?
Yes, correct. Right. And when we did the voting, both in the spring and then here in the summer at the end of camp, a lot of guys, get a decent number of votes. But this was one of those ones where there was a real clear line of demarcation. Whereas if I would have gone below the line, I would have been kind of, flipping coins to see who the next guy would have been. So I didn't want to go any further than that area right there because those 4 guys were all well above the mark. And I think those are the guys that best represent, who we are right now moving forward. And it's just interesting that 3 of them are actually underclassmen.
Good start with both these guys today. Thank you, fellas. Reggie Diggs, Omar Howard, our special Spider player guest. Thanks, fellas. Have a good one. We'll take a break, come back with email questions for Coach Rocco. That's coming up. You can still type something up, send it to us now, spidersportsline@richmond.edu. Emails next when the Spider Sports Line continues on the Spider IMG Sports Network, powered by Ace Electric.
Have you been dreaming about a new deck, screen, porch, or room addition? Make it happen by calling Adadec at 285-4239. Adadec doesn't just build decks. Of course, we can build your new deck or renovate your old one, but we also build beautiful screen porches, open porches, sunrooms, and other room additions, and have been for over 25 years. We can design it, build it, and turn your dream into reality. Visit Adadec on the web at adadec.com or call 285-4239 today. That's 285-4239 for additions and decks by Adadec.
Hi, Bob Black here. As the voice of your Richmond Spiders, I see the fans' passion for our hometown team come to life each Saturday in the fall. UPS shares this same passion for helping businesses turn a challenge into a solution. Because they're not just in the shipping business, they're in the problem-solving business. Visit ups.com/solvers to see how UPS can help your team find the winning formula. UPS, official logistics company of Richmond Athletics.
We know what it's like, that persistent nagging feeling that will only go away when you get away. For those with a passion for travel, there's the new Discover It Miles card. You earn unlimited 1.5 miles for every dollar you spend, and you can fly any airline anytime with no blackout dates. Just buy your ticket and use miles to credit your statement. Apply now and Discover will double your miles at the end of your first year. So go on, scratch that travel itch. Get the new Discover It Miles card today. Limitations apply. Double miles for new card members only. Learn more at discover.com/miles.
The lunch hour's winding down, but there's still time for you to talk Richmond football with Coach Rocco. Live from Outback Steakhouse, 7917 West Broad Street. This is the Spider Sports Line on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, and the Spider IMG Sports Network, powered by Ace Electric.
The Spiders now first and goal at the Maryland 4-yard line. They've got an opportunity to take the lead in this game. From the gun, Lauletta takes the snap, fakes the handoff. Jacoby Green and dives for the end zone, and he goes in. Kyle Lauletta from 4 yards out. Touchdown, Spiders. Got about 10 minutes or so on the program. You can still sneak in if you'd like at 622-0950, Spider Sports Line at richmond.edu. Let's take a couple email questions. Danny, I think you really kind of hit on this one already, but since Dave took the time to send it, and you just heard the highlight, Spiders took the lead in that first half, but the second half was a different story. The 7 straight punts you mentioned, I think just 1 first down until that last drive. Coach, did Maryland make adjustments or changes in the second half that were particularly effective that maybe they didn't show the Spiders in the first half?
Not particular. They did one thing in the second half with one of their pressures that we did not necessarily see on their film last year and that we did not see in the first half. And it was successful for them, and it did get them off the field once or twice, but it certainly wasn't the reason for their ability to control the tempo there. I think what happened was they recognized they were in a game, And when they went into the locker room, they were under fire a little bit, and they were challenged about coming out here and responding. And then to Ivan's point earlier there, then kind of said right off the bat, Kyle kind of bobbles a snap. So we lose a play there. We lose a DPI play that could have gotten us a first down. So we're kind of on our heels. And then, when the team extends their lead, it takes a lot of pressure off of that team, so they play a lot looser. The goal in these games is to get the game as deep as you can, as close as you can, so the favorite has to deal with the pressure and the stress. Make the quarterback have to make some throws late in the game. If you can get to that point,
I would have liked that Saturday.
You got a chance to win the game. But so once that score got extended again, now the pressure was gone. So now they're out there just playing, they're loose, they're running to the ball, they're taking chances, they're being aggressive. And I think that factored in actually even more than the changes that they may have made on defense.
The X's and O's.
Yep.
All right, here's one from Steve who said it seemed from the box score that we had 18 Frosh and redshirt freshmen playing on Saturday. Great for the young players to play on the big stage, which builds depth. No real question there, but it's a good observation, and you were showing me coded charts about the youth of the guys who played Saturday.
Yeah, I really appreciate that statement right there, and just recognizing that. During the course of the game, as far as even just having on the bus, we had 11 seniors on the bus. And we had, I think, 18 or 19 freshmen on the bus, and we played 5 freshman defensive linemen in the game. 5. All right, so that's exciting for me to recognize that. We played, I think, 5 linebackers that are freshmen in the game. Now, some of them were in special teams. Some of them got the last drive of the game on defense. So, and one of the things that really let me have a little peace was at the end of the game, that last drive for us on offense. We had a few subs in the game, but the whole game just slowed down for Kyle. Kyle all of a sudden really got his up to speed with the tempo of the game. He settled in. He was 100% relaxed and in control. And when you saw that, we had a lot of rhythm to what we were doing, and some young guys are out there in those moments too, making some plays with the ball.
All right, good email questions. Hey, we'll take them. You can send them to us anytime. It doesn't have to be during the show. When you think of a question, shoot it our way, and we'll be glad to answer it Tuesdays from noon. Folks in the audience, same thing. You got questions?
Against great receivers every day in practice, but they've got a pool of receivers. So, that energy, we talked with Reggie and Omar. It's all self-motivation. There's a lot of things that the coach brings. There's a lot of things that the captains bring. But to have in your makeup a belief that it's important to you, and you're going to be self-motivated. Then you can feed off all the other things, but if someone needs me to get them motivated to do something, they're sitting in the wrong classroom. They got to be elsewhere.
Yep.
So that's what we got to bring to the table: that energy, that emotion, that focus. That edge. I said this from the beginning of the season. I'll stick with this here throughout, but we need to have the confidence of a champion, and we need to have the attitude of the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to bring that every single week. And again, I knew we opened with Maryland, and then I knew we went to Hampton. So I knew that a long time ago. All right, so the confidence of a champion, we didn't quite have enough of that Saturday at Maryland. There were too many moments where we didn't quite have that confidence. We had the attitude, we had the edge. All right, now this week, different opponent. Where you have the confidence and where you have that attitude and edge. I think that's the formula we got to be able to bring each and every week.
Back-to-back weeks on the road to start the season also is a challenge before the home opener on the 19th against VMI. Hey, real quick before we go, Dan, I want to go behind the scenes for just 30 seconds. We are losing our football athletic public relations director this week. Scott Burns, who's in the back here today, is leaving us for a position at Indiana, right by his hometown. He's 45 minutes from Bloomington, so he did a great job here for 3.5. I'll concur with that, Danny. Really miss Scott.
Greatly appreciate Scott and everything he did here as a Spider. Yep.
The new guy is back there too. Matt Moretti will be our football public relations director. He was Scott's right-hand man, so he gets on the hot seat with Coach Rocco. Break him in nice and easy there, Coach.
That's a hot seat now.
Maybe break him in with a little challenge or two for sure. All right. Well, thanks again, Scott. Thank you for all your hard work. Thanks to Omar Howard, Reggie Diggs, our special player guest. Let's go get him Saturday noon. All right. Remember, it's a noon kickoff Saturday at Hampton, Coach. Let's get win number 1, and we'll see you back here next Tuesday.
I appreciate everybody being out here today. Thank you very much.
That'll do it for our season premiere of the Spider Sports Line. Thanks to everyone who's been here. Be sure to thank your servers appropriately as well in the restaurant, and we hope to see you back here next Tuesday for the next edition of the Spider Sports Line. Chris, Matt, and I on the air 11:30 Saturday morning from Hampton, the Spiders and Hampton Pirates at high noon. We'll talk to you then right here on ESPN 950 Sports FM 100.5. So long, everyone.